The darkness enveloping the Middle East isn't just the absence of sunlight. Sometimes it's the terrifying silence of radar systems, the sudden paralysis of electronic eyes once deemed invincible. In recent hours, a shockwave emanated from Tehran, sending corridors of power in Washington and military command centers across the Gulf straight into a state of red alert. Iran claims to have delivered a decisive blow, a technical and military strike so precise that it left the entire U.S. air defense network in one of the world's most strategic regions completely in the dark. The burning question right now is, what is actually happening in the skies over Kuwait? And how could a nation heavily burdened by sanctions like Iran claim to have disabled the most sophisticated defense grid on the planet? According to initial reports from Iranian sources, this was not an isolated attack, but a large-scale coordinated operation utilizing advanced unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs. Tehran's targets were not densely populated cities, but three critical U.S. military bases in Kuwait, a country long considered the bedrock of America's staging ground in the Middle East. Locations like Camp Arifjan and Ali al-Salem airbase, long viewed as impregnable fortresses, suddenly found themselves at the epicenter of a mysterious strike. Tehran's statement asserts that swarms of their drones pierced multiple layers of electronic defenses to strike directly at the brain of the shield. The targets weren't just barracks or storage facilities. Far more insidiously, they targeted early warning radar stations, famous Patriot missile systems, and strategic communications hubs. When radars are jammed or destroyed and comms are severed, the entire air defense system goes blind. That is the true meaning behind the phrase, falling into darkness, a state where U.S. troops, despite possessing state-of-the-art weaponry, cannot see which direction the enemy is coming from. To understand why this carries such immense weight, one must look at the geopolitics of the Gulf. Kuwait is not just a close ally. It houses America's premier logistics and military coordination hubs. If the bases here are threatened, the entire U.S. rapid response capacity in Iraq, Syria, and the Strait of Hormuz is shaken to its core. In recent years, Iran has relentlessly showcased the capabilities of its domestic UAV industry, ranging from cheap yet effective Shahed models to stealthy drones built for high-level electronic warfare. In this incident, military analysts suspect Tehran may have deployed a swarm tactic combined with active jamming devices. When dozens or even hundreds of UAVs appear simultaneously on radar screens, a Patriot system, no matter how advanced, can suffer from target saturation. And if just a few slip through the defensive umbrella to strike critical sensors, the whole system can collapse like a house of cards. In Tehran, high-ranking military officials haven't hesitated to claim significant damage to high-value U.S. assets. International intelligence agencies are frantically analyzing satellite imagery and open-source intelligence to verify the true extent of the damage. Were Patriot launchers actually hit? Or was a nerve center brought down by a cyber attack coordinated with the drone strike? The eerie silence from the Pentagon in the immediate hours following Iran's claim only heightens the dramatic tension. Normally, Washington is quick to issue denials or clarifications against such bold allegations. This delay leaves the public wondering, is the U.S. busy assessing actual damage, or were they genuinely caught off guard by a major technological leap from their adversary? This is far more than a simple military clash. It is a masterclass in psychological warfare. By declaring it pushed U.S. defenses into darkness, Iran is sending a chilling message of deterrence not just to Washington, but to America's regional allies as well. Tehran aims to demonstrate a stark point. No place is safe, and no defense system is absolute. The warning from Iran came wrapped in a cold threat. These strikes are merely a prelude. If the conflict escalates, or if the U.S. launches military counterstrikes against Iranian territory, the scale of future UAV attacks will be far more devastating. It is a dangerous game of playing with fire on an already volatile powder keg. While the world holds its breath waiting for independent confirmation, the atmosphere in the Middle East remains thick with tension. Military experts are dissecting every detail of Iran's claims. If true, It marks a historic turning point in modern warfare, an era where superpowers can no longer rely solely on conventional technological superiority to dictate order. We stand on a dangerous threshold. On one side, a confident declaration of a resounding technical victory. On the other, the calculated silence of a global superpower. What transpires in the shadows at those Kuwaiti bases will not only decide the fate of the troops stationed there, but could trigger a complete reshaping of the Middle Eastern security architecture. This war in the dark is just beginning, and details regarding the exact weapons, vector of penetration, and true US military response remain shrouded in mystery. Is this a devastating physical blow or a masterfully crafted propaganda campaign designed to spread panic? Whatever the answer, the world has received a stark reminder of how fragile peace is in an era dominated by silent drones and electronic warfare. Looking closer, the structure of US bases in Kuwait explains why they were prioritized. Camp Arifjan, the logistical beating heart of US operations, holds vast quantities of equipment and coordinates thousands of tons of supplies and ammunition across the Gulf. If radar defenses there are neutralized, the entire US military supply chain stalls. Meanwhile, Ali Al Salem Air Base serves as a key launch pad for fighter jets and high-altitude missile defense systems. Iran's claimed hits on these specific targets suggest intimate knowledge of the vulnerabilities in the defense matrix. Furthermore, targeting communications centers is a lethal tactical move. In modern warfare, information is lifeblood. A unit cut off from central command is like a body with severed nerves unable to react, coordinate, or defend itself. Iran appears to have meticulously studied recent conflicts to weaponize these lessons against the United States. It must be emphasized that, for now, these claims remain a one-sided narrative from Tehran. Yet history shows that in this volatile region, where there's smoke, there's often fire. The presence of Iranian UAVs over neighboring airspace is no longer rare, but the reported scale and target profile raise the stakes dramatically. As darkness lingers over the bases in Kuwait, all eyes turn to the White House. A military response is entirely possible, yet it carries the terrifying risk of sparking an unwanted regional war. This electronic and drone battle is likely just the tip of the iceberg, beneath which strategic calculations and technological rivalries rage harder than ever. Tehran's statements were not mere hollow rhetoric. According to their published details, targets were selected with surgical precision. This was not indiscriminate carpet bombing, but a high-tech surgical strike aimed straight at critical US pressure points in Kuwait. The focal point of the attack, per Iranian sources, was the MIM-104 Patriot missile system, the crown jewel and iron shield of US defense worldwide. A Patriot system is not just a launcher. It is a complex array, including engagement radar, command stations, and power plants. Tehran claims its kamikaze drones bypass dense defensive fire to directly hit NMPQ-65 radar arrays. In modern combat, radar is the system's eyes. Blind the radar, and multi-million-dollar interceptors become useless piles of metal in the desert sand. The strike's ambitions went further. Strategic communication hubs linking local bases directly to US Central Command, CENTCOM, were also targeted. If true, US forces faced a worst-case operational scenario: total information blackout. Disrupted channels, broken chains of command, and paralyzed response capabilities. This is the exact state of falling into darkness Iranian media boastfully references. Inside facilities like Camp Arifjan and Ali Al Salem, where thousands of US personnel are stationed, tension is at a boiling point. Unofficial reports hint at smoke plumes rising from technical sectors housing sensitive comms equipment. Tehran continues to pour fuel on the fire, warning that this raid is a mere opening chapter should Washington escalate. The threat carries weight, implying Iran retains unplayed hands such as long-range stealth cruise missiles or next-generation heavy payload UAVs. This event casts a shadow of doubt on the effectiveness of Western defense systems against drone-swarming tactics. For years, Iran invested heavily in UAV technology as an asymmetric equalizer against superior US air power. cheap, mass-produced drones can overwhelm costly air defense grids. When dozens converge from multiple vectors, even the most modern system struggles to achieve a total intercept rate. It takes only a few leaks through the shield to inflict catastrophic damage. In Washington, emergency sessions fill the White House Situation Room. Defense officials face a harrowing calculus: how to respond without triggering an all-out war. Passivity or a weak response compromises America's superpower posture and regional deterrence. Conversely, direct retaliatory strikes on Iranian soil could ignite a major Middle Eastern conflict, threatening global energy markets and triggering unthinkable fallout. The international community watches every move with bated breath. Gulf nations within range of Iranian missiles are on edge. Kuwait is actively urging restraint while fortifying its own critical infrastructure. The Pentagon's unsettling silence only fuels speculatory chaos. Are they concealing a painful truth about the damage, or quietly preparing a thunderous counterstrike? Ultimately, this confrontation transcends destroyed hardware and damaged bases. It is a war of psychology and strategic posture. Iran aims to prove that even the most fortified US outposts are no longer invulnerable, seeking to rewrite the rules of engagement in a region where American power has maintained order for decades. Whether the damage is as severe as Tehran claims or exaggerated for effect, one outcome is undeniable. Faith in the absolute invincibility of US power has been severely tested. Every hour that passes without a clear statement from Washington adds weight to Iran's narrative. This drone strike may well be remembered as a historic turning point, marking the rise of unmanned warfare and the diminishing return of traditional defense doctrine. The battle over Kuwait's skies serves as a haunting reminder of peace's fragility. As the duel between the American Eagle and Iran's drone phantoms continues across physical, digital, and diplomatic battlefields, the message to the world is clear. In the age of emerging asymmetric tech, no shield is impenetrable.